Oh my goodness, guess who it is? It's only been about 2 months since I've made a video. I've had a lot of editing issues and different things, so it's been a little wonky around here. We had a tornado go through. Thank the good Lord Jesus, it didn't affect anybody too badly, you know. It tore up some property here and there, but it sort of went over us. Oh, that was a scary night. Jesus had me on my hands and knees praying that night, I tell you right now, because we have nowhere to go. Nowhere. I told Daddy, that is one way for the good Lord Jesus to get me on my hands and knees praying. It scared the bejesus out of me. Holy moly. He said, that's no wonder that happened. He was trying to get you on your hands and knees to pray. I said, yeah, probably. It's my fault. It's all my fault. But anyway, we've had that. We've had another major flood go through, you know, our counties here in the northern Kentucky, eastern Kentucky region. And it's pretty bad. A lot of homes got destroyed and different things, but it's not as bad as the one we had in 97, which was a 500-year historical flood. That one took out about 500 homes in the county where I grew up, and it's all those homes, you know, aren't there. So it didn't affect those, but there were a few houses here and there that still exist that it did affect. And we had one gentleman die that was, a lot of people really liked him. He was very good for the community. And but that was not flood related, even though he was out there he was cleaning the flood waters edges up, and he died of natural causes though. It's sad, but you know, those families could be prayed for. Have prayer. But that and editing, Lord have mercy, I have not been able to edit. Hopefully things are corrected and I'm able to do that now. Hopefully. I have found this recipe blend, spice blend, through, I think, Acre Homestead. Becky and her mother were cooking over the weekend, and I thought, you know what? I would like to try that spice blend. And it had, was it garlic powder, mustard powder, ground mustard powder, cumin, chili powder, brown sugar, salt, pepper, thyme. Those were all equal parts. And then it was double part for paprika. And there might be something in our midst, but I'll leave the description of that down below in the description. And that way, if you want to see that spice blend, it'll be in the description below. And I put it on chicken, where they put it on pork rubbed, and they smoked it and different things. I stuck it in an Instapot, you know, did the lazy man way, or woman way. But if you want to follow along with me, and I'll show you how I'm doing this. I'm pulling it apart, and we're going to have it on, like, I'm going to put it on a hoagie bun for him, and I'm just going to have it on a gluten-free little muffins that I had made for me. If you like, I guess it'd be like pulled chicken. I really don't have a recipe name for this. If you know a good recipe name, by all means leave it in the comment. I'd appreciate it. But until next time, God bless you all. And here's the video of how I made this meal. I start by putting Flashman's mustard on some chicken and rubbing it in really good. Just coating it all. I have a seasoning blend here, and it's one part of everything except for paprika. I will list those. Paprika is doubled, but I just sort of coat all that chicken up with that. Got it all pat. Now you can put this in the oven to slow cook it. But I am putting it in the rack in my Instapot. This is the way I'm doing it. There's many ways you could do this. Some people slow cook it at like 250 for a lot of hours. But I don't have time for that today. So I'm doing it this way. A can of crushed pineapple in pineapple juice. And I'm just going to pour some of this in here. Maybe a few little pineapples. Not a whole lot of pineapples, but I'd like to have some of the juice. I also have a cup of chicken broth that I am going to pour over this. Lock my lid. Pressure cook. I'm going to pressure cook 30 minutes on max. I don't have the venting, and then I'm going to hit start. I estimate my cooking time on the chart, and it says 15 minutes per pound of chicken, and that's in any pressure cooker. You'll be fine. It was really tender, so I took it out and shredded it with a couple forks and decided it was a little bit dry. So I added some of that juice that it was cooking in it to that and mixed it back up, and it had more of a juicier flavor to it, but I still didn't like the taste profile. There was missing something. So I took my favorite barbecue sauce and I stuck it in a little dish, and I tasted it with my sauce and decided I liked that. That's what was missing. So I started adding that to my shredded chicken, and then I put it back into the Instapot on slow cook mode. I have a glass lid that I can use my Instapot as slow cooking. I did that because it's going to be about 2 hours before my husband is home. Excuse me. And I added more sauce. I mixed it up, and I set the timer on low. That way he has a nice hot meal when he gets in from work. I also decided that I needed some coleslaw with this. I had a small head of cabbage in the fridge, and I thought I'd get that out and start it up, dicing it. I wish I had a carrot that I could shred up with this, but I didn't have any carrots in the house. And if my husband liked onions, I would have had a small sweet onion that I would have diced up really fine to this also. He don't like onions, so, but he loves everything else. I can handle the not liking onions. I start my sauce or the mix out with 2 big heaping tablespoons of mayonnaise. I like the real mayonnaise. And then this is my salt and pepper shaker. I got that lid off of Amazon, and inside this little salt is a tube that the pepper sits in. And I just love this little thing. And of course I label it. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but if you know, you know. And if you do, you're probably old, or at least middle-aged. I add celery seed to this. I add just a couple pinches. If you add too much celery seed, it gives it a bitter taste that I'm not fond of. Then apple cider vinegar, probably, I'd say a tablespoon or a tablespoon plus teaspoon, and then doubled that with the milk, maybe 2 tablespoons or 3 of milk. About a tablespoon of sugar. That was sugar substitute that I used. And it wasn't thin enough because you want it where it's a little bit thinner. See how it pours onto the spoon? I taste it as I go. Sometimes it needs more vinegar. Sometimes it needs a little bit more of sweetener. And you can use any sweetener, sugar, or sugar substitute that you like. I pour that into my cabbage once I like the profile, the taste. And I think that I wound up having to take that cabbage out and putting it in a food processor and dicing it up a little more smaller because the chunks were too big. But I stuck that in the fridge and I waited for supper to be started. My husband likes these hoagie buns. So I put his on a hoagie bun, and I have gluten-free muffins bread that I made for me, and I stick it on that's gluten-free for me, but I put his on the hoagie bun and added a little bit more sauce to it, and he doesn't like coleslaw to be on his barbecue. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think I wound up sticking mine on the side. But he really enjoyed this meal. He said it was really good and he liked it. So thank the good Lord Jesus. Another meal for him to eat that he enjoyed. I love you all. And until next time, God bless you all. And I will definitely see you again.